4,000 meters below the surface, the water hasn't seen sunlight in 25 million years. The pressure would crush most air-filled bodies instantly. And in that darkness, the fossil record preserves creatures so strange that paleontologists describe them as the most alien things our planet ever produced. We're going to descend through the ocean layers and backward through time, and what we find at each level is going to get progressively harder to explain. Welcome to Ancient Earth Cinema, where we dig into the real history beneath the world you think you know. Stay with this one, because by the end, you'll understand why one of these creatures actually survived the worst catastrophe in Earth's history. And the reason it survived is not what you'd expect. The ocean doesn't give up its secrets easily. Its floor is carpeted in sediment that's been accumulating for hundreds of millions of years, each layer sealing the remains of what came before. These weren't movie monsters. They were worse, because they were real, and the real ones had no motivation except survival. Every meter you descend takes you further back. Go deep enough, and the record opens like a door into something genuinely alien. Body designs that evolution has never repeated, creatures that scientists reconstruct the way you'd piece together something from another world. So we start in the twilight zone, where sunlight has already vanished, and the water hovers just above freezing. And the first creature waiting for us here is Dunkleosteus torelli. It lived during the Devonian period, roughly 382 to 358 million years ago, in shallow seas that covered what is now Ohio. It was a placoderm, an armored fish, and it had something that almost nothing else alive at the time possessed: a jaw. Not a jaw like yours or mine. Paleontologists call it a 4-bar linkage, a geometric system of bone struts that converted muscle force into a crushing bite. When researchers modeled the mechanics, they found it could generate pressure equivalent to the weight of a small mountain bearing down on whatever was caught between those bony plates. It didn't slice, it didn't grab, it crushed. The largest specimens reached about 4.3 meters, with an armored head built from 2 interlocking plates. The rest of the body was lighter, less fortified. That tells us something. This wasn't a pursuit predator. It was an ambush feeder, waiting in the murk for prey to come close, then springing that 4-bar trap. We go deeper now, further back, and the shape of life starts to change in ways that are harder to process. Anomalocaris lived during the Cambrian period, about 505 million years ago. It's the first super predator on record, and it looks like it belongs in science fiction rather than the fossil record. It was an arthropod, same broad family as insects and crabs, but nothing alive today resembles it in any meaningful way. Its body was segmented and flexible, 2 long grasping appendages extended from the front. Its mouth was circular, lined with teeth arranged like the segments of a pineapple, and its eyes were compound, built from roughly 16,000 individual lenses. No arthropod alive today has eyes like that. Anomalocaris needed them because it was hunting soft-bodied prey in 3 dimensions, in murky water, before most animals had developed shells. Most of what we know comes from the Burgess Shale in British Columbia, a deposit so exceptional it preserves soft tissue that almost never survives fossilization. The Burgess Shale captures the moment when nearly every major animal body plan first appeared on Earth. Anomalocaris was already at the top of the food chain when those body plans were still working out the basics of movement. It was the lion before the antelope learned to run. Go deeper still, and the creatures get older and stranger in ways that are harder to articulate. Cameroceras was a nautiloid cephalopod from the Ordovician period, about 470 million years ago. The largest specimens reached an estimated 9 meters. Imagine a squid living inside a straight conical shell longer than a delivery truck. That shell was divided into gas-filled chambers the animal could inflate or empty to control its depth, making it a living submarine. It ate trilobites, other cephalopods, and early jawless fish. It had no predator. It was the predator in seas that covered most of what's now North America and Europe. Then there's Jaekelopterus rhenaniae, a sea scorpion, the largest arthropod that has ever lived, with estimates putting it at around 2.5 meters in length. Its claws were the size of a human arm, with curved edges that could slice through the exoskeleton of nearly anything it encountered. It hunted during the Devonian, moving between coastal waters and rivers, and for a long stretch of time, nothing in its environment could stop it. And now we reach the deepest layer, the one that changes something. About 252 million years ago, the Permian Triassic extinction killed roughly 90% of all species in the ocean. Most large predators never came back. The seas were stripped bare, but Helicoprion made it through. Helicoprion was a shark-like cartilaginous fish from the Permian, living around 280 to 290 million years ago. Its defining feature was a spiral of teeth in its lower jaw, a tooth whorl that never stopped growing. New teeth formed at the back of the spiral and pushed older teeth forward, creating something that looked like a living saw blade. The leading theory is that it used this structure to shred soft-bodied prey with a rapid closing motion, fast, specialized, efficient. And when the extinction came and took nearly everything else, Helicoprion kept going. It persisted into the Triassic, long after the ocean had been emptied of its competitors. That's the answer to the question we planted at the start. Helicoprion didn't survive because it was the biggest or the strongest. It survived because it was specialized for a food source that the extinction couldn't fully erase, soft-bodied prey. While armored, complex ecosystems collapsed around it, Helicoprion kept eating. Survival, it turns out, isn't about power. It's about what you need and whether that thing still exists when everything else is gone. The last creature from this descent is Tanystropheus hydroides, a marine reptile from the Triassic, about 242 million years ago. It was roughly 6 meters long, and fully half of that length was neck. Not a flexible neck, a rigid one, built like a broomstick. Scientists believe it was an ambush predator that hid beneath its prey with its neck extended upward, waiting, then snapping forward with the momentum of that impossible structure. Every one of these animals was real. Every one of them lived in a world that existed long before any mammal stood upright. They weren't monsters in any meaningful sense. They were survivors, perfectly fitted to environments that no longer exist, carrying tools that have been obsolete for tens of millions of years. And somewhere below the deepest layer anyone has sampled, there are creatures no one has named, answers to questions no one has thought to ask. Now you know why Helicoprion outlasted the unsurvivable. It needed less from the world than everything around it, and that was enough. Tell us in the comments, which of these creatures do you think deserved its own era longer than it got? And if you want to keep descending into the real history of this planet, subscribe to Ancient Earth Cinema. The record goes deeper than you think.